Share with you. Yo!
Welcome to Golden Speakers Toastmasters. Another meeting. It's got to be another Tuesday, and it's April 22nd, 2014. I'm Cindy Trainer, Sergeant at Arms, or Sergeant of Arms. We are glad to see you here. We've got a number of guests in the audience. Welcome back. Please join me in warmly welcoming our club president, Rhonda Whitaker.
Hello Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. Welcome to Toastmasters. Today is actually Earth Day, so I'm wearing my Earth Day shirt that's about 30 years old.
Oh!
It's 48 years ago. I was... Pardon?
Same age as you.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. Get extra points for that. 48 years ago, I was at the University of Maine Mall making out pictures of starving children from Vietnam on a 4x8 plywood board. I had joined SDS, Students for a Democratic Society. I didn't know what it was. I was an artist, so they asked me to be involved, and they got me to sign up. I didn't know the FBI would be investigating me because I was in the SDS. So that was my first Earth Day celebration, was asking for help for the starving people in other parts of the world. Today we've come a long ways, and I won't get into that because there's not much time. We all know where we're going and what we're doing. Toastmasters magazines. We have these to give away free to our guests tonight. We have several different magazines from different months. You're welcome to have a magazine. These will be by the door. You can pick one up when you leave tonight. I'd like to ask our guests, we have, if anyone would like to stand up and say why they came tonight. And we have one new guest. I won't look at him, but he's right back there. If you could stand up and say your name.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Shava. I'm from Mongolia, and today my professor said there are one speaking club in Fairfield, and if you want to, you can come. So I come here.
Very good. Thank you. We have a couple of veteran guests. I'd like to ask them if they would like to say anything about why they came tonight.
Hello, my name is Nadia. I came here to pursue my goal, to become an eloquent speaker and to overcome fear of public speaking, my fear of public speaking.
Thank you, Nadia.
Hi, my name is Dinesh. I'm here not to overcome my fear. I think I don't have any fear of public speaking, but to improve my language, basically grammatically and how-wise, things like that. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you to our guests for being brave and standing up and saying who you are and why you're here. It's very important for us to reevaluate and reorient every now and then. Why are we here? Why did we come? It helps us set it in our mind better what we can manifest as members of Toastmasters. The mission of a Toastmasters Club is to create a positive and safe, supportive learning environment in which each member can be empowered to develop leadership and communication skills, which in turn result in self-confidence and improved personal growth. Now I would like to introduce our chosen Toastmaster of the evening, Mr. Seth Rowan.
Okay, great. Toastmaster, that's me. Thanks, Rhonda. Welcome, Toastmasters. Viewers at home, my job is to keep the meeting going. Keep it on time. Our theme for today is humor. I've got a tip for you all. If something's bothering you, just remember this one phrase for the next few days. Drop it like a hot pocket. Because you shouldn't be eating Hot Pockets anyways. So that's just a little bit of advice to get us started off with a little humor. Drop it like a Hot Pocket.
Drop it.
I'd like to introduce our role players. These are the people who are going to give us advice and help us out. First is our timer, John Miller. John, will you describe your role and stand up and introduce yourself?
Surprisingly, my role is to keep time. Ha! And table topics will be 1 to 2 minutes. And at 1 minute, the green light comes on. 1:30, the yellow. 2 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, 2 minutes, the red. The speech of 5 to 7 minutes. Green light at 5, yellow at 6, red at 7. Table topics, the evaluator will be longer this evening, 4 to 6 minutes. So the green light will come on at 4, the yellow at 5, the 6 at red. Speech evaluator, 2 to 3 minutes. Green at 2, yellow at 2:30, and red at 3. There is a 30-second grace period after the red light is turned on before Tom will come over with a hook and pull you off stage.
Yep.
And table topic speakers need to speak for at least 1 minute.
Yo.
Thank you, John. Now we'll hear from our grammarian, Will Burns.
Seth, I'm here to speak about our word of the day. As the grammarian, I will introduce the word of the day, which today is dyad. This is a pair. It also can be two people maintaining a sociologically significant relationship. So brother, sister, or a business partnership, or some kind of sort of mutually supportive relationship. I will also make an exceptional note of any good or poor use of the English language. Usually it's good. And I will give a brief report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Next, we're going to hear from our A counter, Rhea Saint.
I'll be keeping track of all of the filler words, such as ah, and, you know, so, but, tongue clicks, and I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Rhea. We'll be hearing from our general evaluator, Louis Denbaum, later in the meeting. Sure, you can clap for Louis. That's a sign of a healthy dyad right there. Greeter and joke master for the evening is warming up in the corner. We can hear him now. Art Atkinson.
Yo!
Getting us ready to laugh for the theme of the day's humor. Pressure's on the joke master. Better, good. Nope. Or drop it like a Hot Pockets. For those of you who don't know, who aren't from America, Hot Pockets are processed food that you put in the microwave and you heat up, then you eat. But you really shouldn't eat because they're not good for you. Drop it like a Hot Pocket. And finally, our ballot counter and leader counter is Cindy Trainer. Would you like to ask everyone if they're getting their credit for their manuals? Kind of check in?
You bet. Anyone who has a role tonight, if they have their leadership manual, I'll gladly fill it out. Any takers?
The joke mastering earn credit?
Yes. Every role does.
Every role. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Ha!
Thank you, Cindy. And now it's time for what I believe is going to be table topics, the appetizer of the evening.
Session 1.
Session 1. Fantastic. And to run table topics this evening, we're going to be hearing from Stephen Harper.
Table Topics is an opportunity for us to learn public speaking extemporaneously. How to think on your feet so that if you suddenly, without being told, have an opportunity to give a short speech, you are ready to do so, or so practiced and confident that you know how to do it because you've practiced it here at Toastmasters. So table topics are short speeches of at least 1 minute and no more than 2.5 minutes. I will read a question for a topic for each table topic. So now I would like to see who would like to try out this opportunity to practice your spontaneous, extemporaneous speaking skills. Art, go! By the way, yes, you're welcome to try this out. Okay, Art. What is your favorite joke, funny story, or humorous event that you recall from your life, or a play, or a movie, or a skit that you may have seen? And you can think about this for half a minute before you start.
Thank you for that. Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. We have had the pleasure of a production of a play called The Foreigner in Fairfield at least 3 times that I can remember. And it's just an absolute joy of a play to watch. It is absolutely loaded with fabulous humor. Most of that humor is the result of a collision between cultures. I won't try to summarize the play for you, but what I do remember is that my kids and my wife and I went to see this play, and we came home and lines from the play became standard issue conversation in the household. It's a faux work. Speaking of an eating implement. Or, ya done real good. So we adopted these small little bits from the play, and they entertained us endlessly for years. And I'm willing to bet that every family has items like that. Seth, wouldn't you agree? You and your kids have little pet things that you all enjoy. Phrases. Or, I resemble that. Who made that up? Who doesn't use it? We use it all the time in my household. Those are some of the things that I remember with the greatest joy. Yo! Thank you.
I saw that play twice and just laughed all the way through it. It was great. Who would like to try next? Yes. Thank you. So, Dinesh, what is something you always wanted to do or say in perhaps a solemn situation or any situation that would have been funny or creative, but you were too shy or uncertain how it would be taken? What would it have looked or sounded like if it were actually a comedy skit?
Thank you for the question. Dear Toastmasters, good evening everyone. Viewers at home, thanks for the question. I would say I do have that quality that makes me funny sometimes. Like acting, I could, what you call it, copy people's way of speaking. I could make noise, imitate people's actions, behaviors. I remember from my childhood, I used to do such activities that in order to entertain people by my gestures, by my actions, or my voice, or activities like that. So, if I would have been in a comedy club or something like that, then I think that probably I would be successful in that my job, because I believe that I do have that qualities that makes me funny and makes people laugh out of me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who else wants to give it a try?
Yes.
Very Good. Nadia, now you have the option of answering this question or talk about any funny story that you want. But here's what I'm going to suggest. Describe 3 or 4 different kinds of laughter and the appropriate or inappropriate use of each one. Did you follow?
Would you please repeat?
Okay. So describe 3 or 4 different kinds of laughter. For instance, hearty belly laugh or a giggle, or there are different ways of laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe some different ones and when you might use each kind, or what might make you giggle, or what might make you laugh falling off your chair, or what might? This is just an idea. If this doesn't resonate with you, you could just tell any humorous story that occurs to you. Need half a minute to think about it? It's okay.
Yeah, sure.
We'll wait. Okay.
Hello, my name is Nadia. Laugh. The topic of my speech is laughers. Sometimes may I change topic?
Yeah.
I lost my train of my thoughts.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to give you a different one.
Can we?
Yeah. Start over.
Yes, start over, please.
Okay. Could you describe your own sense of humor in 2.5 minutes and give an example of that? What's funny to you?
You want to just tell a funny story? Maybe that would be.
Or just what's the funniest thing that ever happened to you, or that you ever saw?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Good evening. My name is Nadia. The funniest story. I would say that I can't remember right now the funniest story because. But you can interpret the story that I'm going to tell you if it puts your mood. I will take it that it was a funny story. Last summer I visited my friend in Chicago. Of course, we are girls. Girls like shopping, and so we went shopping. And it was a very good day. It was very nice, warm, the end of the summer. And after spending all day on shopping, my blood of my sugar went down, and we decided to grab food. And then we went to a restaurant, and they asked us to wait for 45 minutes. I asked her, okay, let's go to other store. It's not big deal. But she said, no, I want to eat in this store. I said, why? What kind of food there is? I mean, this food would make you smarter, taller, beautiful. No, it's just some simple food. But she said, no, I want this in this restaurant. It's very fancy restaurant. I said, yeah, okay, you can wait for 45 minutes, but I'm not going to wait for 45 minutes. And I let her. It's like I decided to interact with her like with a small child. And since I disappeared around the corner, she got scared or maybe nervous because she saw that I'm not going to follow her. And she ran after me, and we had a very good dinner at the Chipotle. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nadia. Who's next? Tom, come on up. Now, I will give you an opportunity. If you don't want to answer this one, it's fine. You can tell a funny story. But I thought to ask you, what is the cosmic joke? Why do people laugh when they awaken?
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored distinguished guests. The cosmic joke is that everybody takes everything seriously. They really think it's serious. They worry about things. They lay awake at night worrying. The joke is, it's just happening. And when you figure out it's just happening, you start to laugh. You laugh at things that aren't funny to other people. I can't tell you how many weddings and funerals where the minister or the rabbi or the priest has literally wanted to rip my throat out. In fact, at Cindy's brother's wedding, Methodist female minister comes up to me afterwards and she starts to tell me how badly I affected everyone in the church and how terrible it was that I laughed. Because I laughed at the serious stuff, because she was taking it serious. And when she gets done ripping me a new one, I laughed. And then she got madder. And the more madder she got, the more I laughed. And it was really funny. And everybody in the audience, in the church, we went to the reception and they came up to me and said, you know, when you laugh, we all see how silly the serious stuff is. We kind of get. Your laughter reinforces that seriousness isn't really what it's about. And I had one priest at a wedding, or a funeral, come up to me afterwards. He says, boy, he says, when you're in the audience and you laugh, funerals are a piece of cake.
One more, or is that it?
No, Cindy does the next
Okay,
time.
very good. So, now we'll have round 2 of table topics.
We don't vote yet.
No, we have to do it all once. Or I don't know, do whatever you
I'd
want
like
to
to
do.
ask
One
Cindy Trainer
Don't take that
to
seriously.
lead the second round.
Yo!
Tom, could you tell me when the second round ends?
I will.
Okay. Well,
10:17.
9,
7 minutes more.
9:17. No.
Yeah.
8. The theme being Earth Day, and it totally over the top of my head. I didn't sink in that it was about humor. We had so much fun here last week with props that's what I have in the bag, is props. It's something about Earth Day. I'm looking for a volunteer to come up here, reach in the bag, feel around, pull something out, and talk about what it means to.
Stick my hand in the bag.
Yep, stick your hand. Grab something.
Talk about.
And how does this relate to Earth Day? With humor, if you wish.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you. Yo! Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. This is my favorite ancient German gardening tool, which I use every Earth Day in a special ceremony to connect with my ancestors. And I scoop and I plant the sacred cucumbers that have been passed along from generation to generation, from the Volga in Ukraine, where my German, white Russian ancestors lived, and been passed on from generation to generation all the way back to Prussia when Catherine the Great made the decree and brought all these people over. And I plant our little cucumbers, and I say a little German prayer, and then I drink some hard liquor, and I light a large fire. And that's what this is. This is a gardening implement that I like to use on Earth Day to connect with my ancestors. Just dig a little hole and plant my cucumbers. And so I really appreciate this opportunity to share with you something that means a lot to me. And I hope that it has inspired you to connect with your ancestors on Earth Day too. Yo!
Anyone else like to ask? Or I'll have to start calling on names. Any more guests? Yes, come on.
David,
Come on.
yeah.
Oh boy. What do we got here? Oh my word.
Oh, okay. There you go. How would you celebrate Earth Day with this individual?
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home, the dolphin has been a symbol of wildlife and intelligence in nature, a symbol of harmony, a symbol of peace, love, and joy, because dolphins are very playful. I remember I was backpacking with a group from Fairfield on the north coast of Kauai in Hawaii, and we looked out over the ocean, and along came a school of dolphins, spinner dolphins. They were jumping out of the water, spinning around in the air, and falling back into the water again, just having the time of their lives. And wow, did that inspire us. It just filled our hearts with joy, just made us so happy that nature was so full of life and joy and beauty. And that kind of expression that the dolphin symbolizes, I take to be an inspiration for my life. Who doesn't want to be like a dolphin and just spin around, for no reason at all? Spinning was the original way of getting high when you were a little kid, wasn't it? You'd spin around until you laugh so hard you'd fall down, and you could overdo it. You don't want to go there, but it's really so much fun. So dolphins have become a symbol of purity and a reason to keep the earth pure and healthy, a healthy place, and to preserve the environment so that wildlife can thrive. And we are actually wildlife too. We've forgotten that. We get so restricted by our jobs and the rules that we're supposed to live by that we forget that we were born to be wild, right?
There you go.
Come on! Let's get wild, right? Okay, so Earth Day, dolphins, wildness. Let's hear it. Yay! Go, 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 go!
One more person, one last time. Go, Rhonda.
Go, Rhonda, go!
Oh, yes. How would you celebrate Earth Day with that person?
This is a loon. Has anyone here ever heard a loon?
Yes.
Can you make the sound they make?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And they dive underwater in between calls. I would celebrate Earth Day by listening to the loons and calling back and forth with them and having a fish dinner. For some reason, the loon call hits a deep emotion in people. I went to my granddaughter's 3rd birthday after not seeing them for 18 months. And when they got their presents, they would tear them apart, rip them open with no ceremony, and then they would giggle with this little loon laugh like, oh, oh. It was so precious. That's how I would celebrate with a loon. Thank you.
Oh. All right, that concludes the table topic session. John, could you please tell us, not the times, but just the list of names of the people that qualified? Could you read them, please?
Sure, everybody qualified. Art, Dinesh, Nadia, Tom, Seth, Steve, and Rhonda.
Okay, thank you. All right, welcome back. I'd like to welcome up our table topics evaluator, Stephanie Chambers.
Hello, Toastmasters, our guests, viewers at home. And our speakers tonight were, I thought, excellent in the way that everyone managed to make it very personal when they spoke. They spoke about themselves, which I found really interesting. I'll just go through everyone quickly, one by one. But I would like to say, before I start into the specifics of each person, that I felt like the one overlying theme that everyone had a little bit of, well, not everyone, but a lot of people had a little trouble with was filling the time. How can you fill the time? You know, sometimes you get up here and you think of something to say, you say it, and that's it. You run out of steam. It's like the train gets to the hill and just stops. So it's just a few tips of things you might think about doing next time to try and make your story last longer. If you're telling a story, you might think of what senses, what did I smell, hear, taste at the time, go into a bit more detail. It's the nitty little gritty details that make a story seem really real and people can grasp it. So that can also help add to the time. The other thing is you might think of a quote that the situation reminded you of, or if necessary you can segue into a slightly different story, or you can compare and contrast the experience or the topic. You can argue against it. If you're talking about somebody, you try and imitate them, as Dinesh talked about, do their gestures, be different so that people know that you're being them, and, vocalize how they speak if you can, instead of just saying what they said, say it as if you're them saying it. So those things might help you to think about ways to make your short little speech a little bit longer. And just going through each person now, I really liked Art's story about the play, and I like the fact that you gave us a couple of examples, fork and another joke about resembling, which I think was fun. I suppose it's the same sort of thing. I enjoyed the story, but if you have a chance to take time beforehand to think of maybe some structure, if you can think of maybe a stronger ending or something like that. But otherwise, I thought it was really good. So, you did a great job. Dinesh, I like the way you took the topic and talked about how you could have been a comedian and what talent, what area of comedy you would have gone in. I thought that was really interesting. I suppose it's hard when you're thinking on the spot to think of actual examples, but if you could have got a couple more examples, that would have given us something rich to take home. So next time, take a bit more time before you speak to think about Nadia, I loved your story about shopping in Chicago. That was a lot of fun. And maybe just a few more details could have made it a little longer, but otherwise I thought it was great. Tom, the cosmic joke. I thought that was great, the way you came up with a couple of examples and very specific details. We could see the minister getting angrier and angrier and angrier. I suppose, and I like the way you made a sort of a point at the end. You could maybe, if you planned it out a bit more, you could maybe use the stage a little bit more or something like that to add some contrast to the two examples. Seth, I thought that was a fun taking of an object and talking about something, making it into something completely different. It's another way of segueing, I suppose, which I thought was clever. And I like the way you tried to make it fun, and yet you added a few details so we have some idea of your ancestors. If you thought about it a little bit more, maybe you could have thought of some more structure and maybe used the stage a bit more. Stephen, I loved your Hawaii story. I thought that was great. And I also liked your vocal variety and the way that you got quite loud at the end. And you used your gestures, which were great. I suppose the only thing I could say is maybe if you planned it a little bit more, you could have had a little bit more structure if you thought about it a little bit longer. Rhonda, I enjoyed your story about the loon, and I loved the way you tied it into your granddaughter and to her giggles, sounding like a loon, which I thought was an interesting way to take the topic somewhere different than we were expecting. I suppose in terms of just making it that little bit longer, if you described a few more details of maybe loons and where you've seen them, and then a little bit more about your granddaughter, it just would have filled it out a little bit more and made it richer. But otherwise, I thought everyone did a great job tonight, and I loved the stories.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator. Thank you for our two table topics leaders, Cindy and Stephen. That is the end of the beginning of our meeting. Now we're in the beginning of the middle. And to kick us off into the main portion of our meeting, we're going to hear from Scott Terry, who will be evaluating Monty Kanga. Go!
We're all chanting for Monty already. It was great. Monty, the great Monty, will be doing project number 3 out of the book. The executive summary, it's really nice to actually reread this. I noticed that when I was going through the book, I didn't really read the chapter very much. I sort of came up with my speech and tried to pretend it would adapt to this. And it's fun to actually evaluate and sort of reread, like get to the point. I'm just going to go back through the executive summary and the objectives here. Every speech must have a general and specific purpose. The general purpose is to inform, to persuade, to entertain, and I love the breakdown. Once you have established your general and specific purpose, you'll find it easy to organize your speech. You'll also have more confidence, which makes you more convincing, enthusiastic, and sincere. Of course, the better organized the speech is, the more likely it is to achieve the objective of your purpose. Speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes. Ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purposes. Project sincerity and conviction to control any nervousness that you may feel. Except Monty doesn't have nervousness. Strive not to use those. Excellent. Monty is a native of Fairfield. He grew up in the corn, and he's still back out in the corn somewhere. Having grown up in this unique Iowa town, he is an Army veteran who has served in combat and combined 8 years in the reserves and active service. He returned to Fairfield in 2006 to attend
Maharishi University of Management, where he obtained his bachelor's degree in business administration. He is currently devoting most of his time and energy into a fledgling new business that he has started with another partner, soon to make $20 million? Did I get that right?
50.
50, got it. Monty's current interests and hobbies include gardening, cooking.
Really?
Okay, to his list as he continues his current self-sufficiency. Thank you, Monty.
Thank you, Mr. Terry, for that unique introduction. I think I wrote half of that. But, Happy Earth Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is the 44th annual Earth Day that has been celebrated since 1970. So it's been 44 years since our president, Rhonda, was put on the FBI watch list. I didn't know it was Earth Day until this weekend. Past weekend when I was trying to decide what topic I should pick for my speech. I'm giving to you tonight, right now. I looked at the calendar and I saw, hey, next Tuesday, today, is Earth Day. And I got thinking, Earth Day, spring. And then an idea sort of sprouted in my head. And it grew a little until it sprung forth in my mind. And I was like, this is the perfect time of year to talk about one of my hobbies, which is gardening.
Heck yeah. Yo!
We got any gardeners in here? Oh, wow. This is going to be really simplistic then, for some. But what I want to share with you tonight is why plant a food garden. And so there are two things I want to share with you. One is the reasons that I choose to garden, personally, some of which I think you'll find beneficial to yourselves and might persuade you to also just dig into this little hobby. And two, I want to inform you about two special opportunities of how you can start gardening individually, and also an opportunity within our community, where you can garden within our community, or do both. It's your choice. Well, let's dive right in. Reasons to garden. We've all heard the term Buy American, right? That's nothing too new. It's been around for quite a while. But this movement has sort of progressed recently, in recent years. It has gone from Buy American to Buy Regional. That sounds good? Sure, why not? And that has moved to Buy Local. Well, that sounds even better. You can't get more local than your own backyard. You can't get more local. You can't get more local than your front porch. Or even your windowsill in your home. It's a nice sunny windowsill. These are all places where you can garden. You don't have to have a plot community, but take it a step further. Become a part of that. Grow local. Now, another reason to garden, which actually our Toastmaster tonight, Mr. Braun, so eloquently presented to us last weekend, is the Community Blue Zone Initiative. Fairfield has been chosen to be chosen to be part of this Blue Zone project. And if I remember correctly, people here who have taken the pledge, one of the things that you can do to fulfill your Blue Zone pledge, I think you have to do three things. One of them is that you could choose to plant a garden. Why is that? Because it gets you outside. It's an active hobby. It puts you out in nature. You're working. There's a little bit of sweat involved, but it's rewarding too. And this all ties into our own community initiative here in Fairfield. It's another great thing. Now, on a personal level, those were two more practical things. On a personal level, why do I garden? I like self-sufficiency. In fact, I've been sort of on a self-sufficiency kick for the last couple of years, trying different things. And the chicken experiment, which Mr. Terry talked about, is actually a backyard chicken. I'm not experimenting on Frankenstein chickens. I'm just trying to grow some chickens, raise some chickens, maybe have some eggs in the future. So part of self-sufficiency, well, what's self-sufficiency? Range of this, of what is fundamental to a person. And some of it can vary from person to person. But some things don't. And three of the most basic is food, shelter, and water. Absolutely fundamental to human existence. When you're able to provide a fundamental, it's one of the big ones. Gardening ties right into that. Another thing of what self-confidence is about is once you obtain self-confidence, there's the opportunity for you to teach others about it. because you first have to be able to help yourself before you can help others. Self-sufficiency is self-confidence. And you can teach, it's wonderful to be able to teach people that feeling. It's a great thing to carry throughout life. Opportunities I want to share with you. The first one I alluded to. Individually, you can container garden. This is a simple container, and I want to offer each person here, if you're interested, a container that contains, not just the container, it contains a packet of seeds. Who doesn't like basil? Some people don't. Basil's a great herb. Yeah. There are 7 basil seeds in this bag. Why 7? Because I love that number. All you need to do is provide your own dirt and your own water. The second thing I want to talk about is in our country during World War I and World War II. And this was because during those world wars, so much resources, so much food and manpower had to be sent overseas to the front that there was potentially shortages of food back home. And in fact, there's rationing. Foodstuffs were rationed. And there was a government initiative that was called Victory Gardens. And basically what it was is the government promoted every single family in America to grow a vegetable garden. And these gardens were called Victory Gardens. At the height of the war, between 1943 and 1944, the U.S. grew in Victory Gardens 1/3 of all produce in our country. Wow. That's great self-sufficiency. Wow. And we don't have that today, but we could. The Victory Garden concept has grown into community gardens. And Fairfield is about to establish its first official community garden. April 27th, this Sunday, on the corner of 3rd for you to go out. It's a volunteer project. The food that's grown there is going to be provided to the Lord's Cupboard, local food pantry. It's going to be provided to the local farmers market for sale. It's going to be provided to the volunteers who help. Great opportunity to learn the latest gardening techniques. And that information is provided here on this form. In conclusion, I want to leave you with a saying. It is self-sufficient individuals who come together that form the bonds of a strong community. There are many ways, many things, many topics, many disciplines that we can learn to be self-sufficient in. Actually, Toastmasters is one of them. We're learning how to be self-confident and self-sufficient in communication. Gardening is another way. We move in that direction.
I'm the Toastmaster. Hey, welcome back. Next, we're going to hear from Jyotiraj Adhikari, who's going to introduce our next speaker, Diane Denbaugh. All right, fantastic. Thank you.
5 to 7 minute humorous speech. The speech primary purpose is to entertain, while the secondary purpose is to make a point. The speech should be based on one theme or subject, with all humorous stories or jokes related to that subject. The humor should come from exaggeration. The speaker is to use body language and voice to enhance the speech. Diane Denbaugh is an elementary school PE teacher, a relationship coach, a life coach, a wife, mother, and a daughter. She loves living in Fairfield and has been a member of Toastmasters since 2007. Diane is doing her final speech from Advanced Communication Series, the humorous speech. The title of her speech is It's All Right. Let's welcome Diane Denbaugh.
Jamaica, man. Jamaica, man. Have a flavor of it. Okay. I was there this past February, from February 15th to February 23rd. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the trip. My point is, things happen when you go traveling. Louis my traveling partner, got the idea, hey, we're traveling on the 15th. Let's go to Des Moines on February 14th and have a romantic evening in a hotel before we have to get on the plane next. Now here's what really happened. We get to the hotel room on the night of February 14th. Here's Lewis, limping along. Why? He decides, hey, let's fit another thing in and let's stop in Pella and go see Dr. Vanderflute and get my second Prolo shot for my knee. In other words, a needle this long that could potentially screw up our vacation. The limp, and then a big bloody piece of gauze in his mouth. Why? Because on the morning of February 4th, I was laying in the bed with my arm across my chest, moaning. Not that kind of moan. The toe that I had stubbed 3 days before decided to swell up.
Whoa.
And my arm was across my chest because at noon on February 14th, that day, just finished teaching my last class at PE, telling all the kids, be careful now, there's some ice here we might not see. And Diane is down on the ground, whammed her arm, rammed her hip. Ooh. Welcome, my lady. It seemed like we healed like that. So we did end up having a great week and a great vacation. Somewhere in there in the middle of the week, we were taking a walk on the beach. And all of a sudden, we hear this, okay, everybody get your $2 in, get your $2 in. They have race. What's going on here? We're fairly tall people, so we were able to kind of make our way through the crowd, trying to find this race, look over, and my gosh, there is a race. Been laying on the beach, healing all our wounds. I love technology. And we got away from technology in Jamaica. Okay, let's take one excursion. Who's nearby? We're in Montego Bay, Bob Marley's home, where he was born and where he lays at rest. We get in a van, we're sitting in the back seat, to this spot where we make a right. Now we are heading up the mountain. Bob Marley lived way up on a mountain. And we're on a road that was probably realistically wider than this. But in my mind, it was like this. And we're just in the back of the bus and we're just going up this hill. And I'm looking down on the side, wow, look at the goats. And we're just getting higher. And then I look up and I think, you're kidding me. There's another van coming. How the heck is that thing going to get? We made it. This goes on and on for another hour. And what song is playing? The thing. Looking over. Look at those goats. Yeah, here comes another truck. But every little thing is going to be all right. Don't worry, whatever. Jamaica. Great place to go. We had so much fun. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
And welcome back. Before we bring up Lewis for our final portion of the meeting, let's just acknowledge our speakers. Weren't they great? Yeah. A dynamic dyad that brought edification and also brought new meaning to Madly in Love Forever. And now it's time for Lewis to come on up.
We need to vote.
Voting for best speaker can happen now? Yeah.
Sure.
Did they both qualify, Mr. Timer? Speakers, time. Qualified. We don't need their time, just that they qualify.
I believe that if that is covered.
He did not qualify.
Good evening, everyone, on this wonderful Earth Day. This is the first year that I actually feel part of the Earth. Because John Gray said that men are from Mars. But recently, a satellite photo of Mars showed no beer and no ESPN. So we know men are not from Mars, and I can rejoice being part of Earth.
Yes.
So now it is time for the evaluation section of the meeting. Our goal in Toastmasters is to improve. And how better to improve than to have people evaluate what we did right and where we can do better. So I'd like to call up Scott Terry, who will evaluate mine.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. Wonderful humor. And you also picked out a current event. Rhonda had just done a joke, and you would come up and be able to comment on it. So it's not just the Earth Day, the general theme, but on a specific thing in a very specific way in your speech. Really brought us in fully, completely. The energy, enthusiasm was fantastic. The clarity of the topic and exploration, energy was wonderful. I liked how you started to do some of your gestures, like you started doing the dig in. One suggestion would be to be more full. I'm digging in. Think about how wonderful Stephen did when he spun around and he's starting to yell, right? It's a bit crazy, but it's fun and it really engages us. So one of the thoughts is really go for it. Develop it even further when you're going there. Another simple technique is Tom's famous technique of one thing, one time, one issue, one person, one time.
One idea.
One idea. Okay. You start having your movements started becoming a little bit randomly moving, as opposed to one person, one idea. I'm talking about the Earth Day right now. Now I'm talking about gardening and how wonderful it would really be to engage you in it. Take that gardening, take the seeds that I've given you, 7 seeds, the magic number, and utilize them. One idea, one person, one time. I loved how you moved the statement you moved. Self-sufficiency is self-confidence. Fantastic. Another really excellent example you did is an opportunity to the audience. Examples like the Victory Garden, which I was surprised that not everybody knew fully. I grew up learning about this. Your ratings were phenomenal for just about everything. Obviously, develop your structure a little bit more in coordination with the timing, but apart from that, excellent speech. I love local, local, local.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, hello again. It was a fabulous, humorous speech. I'll go through this manual. The first question is, what indicated you that the audience was entertained? So everybody was laughing. There is no other, I don't need any other evidence to say that you are doing a good job. What made the speech humorous? Each and every words I say, each and every part of your speech was humorous. It's very descriptive. You have very good vocal variety, and you acted. I mean, you had a good acting on it. So all this made a very good humorous small stories with the toothache and his pain and all the stuff, and you tied all the story to the end, so that was plotted nicely. How did the speaker's body language and vocal variety impact his speech? I just mentioned that all your body language and your vocal variety was up to the par. So what could the speaker have done to improve the presentation? Your speech was fabulous and very interesting, and I was just stuck there for 7 minutes. I couldn't move my eyes from you, away from you. But the only thing what I suggest is, in the beginning you have those small jokes and stories you want to tie with the end. I just suggest you to have a little bit of a moment, a pause with each line, so that we can just digest it with the music and the dance. That was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti, for that evaluation of Diane.
All right, 1 minute 42 seconds on the table topics. Dinesh, 1 minute 10 seconds. Nadia, 2 minutes 12 seconds. Tom, 2 minutes. On the speeches, Monty's was 8 minutes 27 seconds. Diane's 6 minutes 47 seconds. Table topic, Jyoti, 3 minutes 9 seconds.
Thank you, John. Before we go on, let's take a moment to vote for the best evaluator. And that would be Stephanie, Scott, and Jyoti. Next, our grammarian will report. Will Burns.
Yo! Good. How far to go here? Okay. Limited time, I'll be brief. Word of the day. Seth Braun beat a packed house as the word of the day user. Good job, Seth.
Yes.
Okay, some of the language I liked. There was a lot of it tonight. I'll start off with Seth. Drop it like a hot pot. It just goes. Balloons. By calling back and forth and eating a fish dinner. Monty, it's been 40 years since our president, Rhonda, was put on the FBI watch list. And I also liked self-sufficiency and self-confidence. That was just a nice thing. And Diane, start off with things happen when you're traveling and then all from there. And with that, come on back, Lewis.
Yo! Now, Rhea will give us our ah counter report.
Stephen, 3 ahs. Dinesh. Not on my list, but it seemed it was to me. The phrase, I suppose, was used 5 times. Scott, 1 false start. Monty, 2 false starts, and everybody else is clues.
If you want to be happy for life, garden. So a man in Modesto, California was arrested for bank robbery without a weapon. Pretended to have a gun in his pocket, and things went a little bit badly for his robbery when he pulled out his brandished weapon. Another man in Topeka, Kansas was part of a purse snatcher, armed robbery lineup. They had the woman there to look at the lineup of men, and the detective instructed the line of men, said, all right, each one of you is to say, give me your purse or I'll shoot. One guy piped up and said, I didn't say that. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Art. And now, I will evaluate the evaluators and also talk about how the meeting has gone so far. One point I would like to mention is we do like to start at 7:45, and we started a minute or two late. And I want to encourage all the people who have roles during the meeting to come about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes early so that we can start on time. After another, and take your notes so that you remember what was said. Stephanie started out by giving general advice that could be useful at any time for anybody doing table topics. She then analyzed each topic, and she told us what she liked about each one, and she had suggestions for every single person, which was excellent. The one thing I would suggest, Stephanie, that you could do is half of your suggestions were concrete. You told them exactly how you would improve it. The other half was general. If you took more time, you could have more of a structure. Next, we have Scott. He pointed out the humor that Monty had. He complimented him for using a current event, tying in something that was said earlier in the... You gave him concrete examples about his movement, about digging in, spinning around like Steve did. And you also, so you were weaving in and out of the good points and the improvement points. I kind of like that. I know a lot of us use the sandwich technique, the good, the bad, and the good. But yours seem to work really well. The one thing I would do is the introduction of the speech, of the speaker and the speech, is part of your job as the evaluator. In the outline, in the matrix, we have about 1 minute. And I think you did well from the directives in the manual. You also gave her very good advice in terms of having her pause so that the joke can settle in for people, particularly the foreign speakers. I'm not sure I have anything to give you as advice. It was a very succinct introduction also. You did a good job there. So I liked your evaluation very much. And that's it in terms of evaluating. And we're back to our Toastmasters.
Let's see who won. And let's have a drum roll for the best tabletop. Seth Braun! Thank you. Drum roll for best evaluator. Seth Braun! That's amazing. I love being the Toastmaster. This is so great. Wait a second. Come here. It's Scott Terry. Yo! Drop it like a hot pocket. Here we go. Moving on. And what's this? It says, get to the point. Mati, come down. Come on up. Speech number 5. Who did speech number 5? Your body speaks. Everybody, raffle? Can I get $5? And that's it for me. That's all I got to do this evening. If you're a guest and you want to join, someone will sign you up, just so you know. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Rhonda, and she can take it from here.
Wow, what a mind-blowing night this has been. This was great. I feel like I've been out on the town. Thank you for your wonderful speeches and comments tonight. I would like to ask our...
I would like to thank for our today's two speakers, Diane. Although I have never been in Jamaica, but I mentally transferred there, and I see that males always follow their interest, right? And Monty, your speech was very good, and I liked combination such words as self-sufficient and confidence. It's like your degree, Master in Business Administration, just reminded me about this. So, and thank you very much.
I like it very much, so much, because I want to speak a lot. But, when I was in my home country, I needed to speak in front of many people, and it was very difficult for me. And I want to speak, always speak in public speaking, especially. So
Thank you, Shakai.
Well, it's needless to say that it is a very good platform for Diane. Sorry. And they were so inspiring. The two different topics. One was a bit serious, but one was so humorous, so entertaining. And Monty, especially, thank you for your effort, the homework you had done. I'm also like kind of people who do.
About imitating, that you said you could imitate people, and you were imitating several things. That made it so fun tonight. So, can anybody imitate me?
I get this.
Okay. All right. We are a little bit over time tonight because we started a few minutes late. So, I would like to ask, is there any business that needs to be taken care of tonight? Does anybody have something they're concerned that they need an answer to tonight?
Division E on Saturday.
Yes, we have our division.
So than I are.
You are?
I thought I'd head up.
You want?
I thought I'd take a trip up there, yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. That's good. I'm glad you're going. Do you have room for other passengers?
Yes.
If somebody else would like to go?
Steven's driving, I believe.
Yeah, at least two, maybe three.
At least two? Okay, that's good. Please think about that, folks. And talk to Stephen if you would like to go.
It is really helpful if I'm competing or anybody's competing from a club. It's really helpful.
A decaf coffee.
I'm trying to help you be healthy. Green tea. Starburst. What do you want?
Move that we adjourn the meeting until next week.
Second.
7:30. Seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in opposed say nay. Okay.